Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, it's the first of the month. I'm going to take a look at all four of the major indices that we track: the Dow Industrials, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000. I'll be looking, other than the industrials, I'll be looking at the ETFs for those other three indices. Let's take a look at a couple of indicators, and then I want to look at a couple of the key stocks, two of the Magnificent Seven stocks that reported this week. Five reported this week. There were two that have really interesting charts to me, and we're going to drill in and take a look at those. So this is the first of the month. I'm going to walk through the major indices and see where the outlook, how it looks right now. I won't be revisiting this kind of scenario until the 1st of December. A week from today, I'll get into another major segment of the market, and I'm going to do that every other week like that, and walk through different segments, different major like financials and energy and semiconductors, etc. But the first of the month is when I'll take the look at the major indices. So here we go. That said, the Dow Industrials on Friday up 289 points, but down 62 points for the week, continuing to ride above the 10-week moving average in here. When I look at the Elliott Wave picture that I've got, here's what I'm watching. I'm looking for this fifth minute wave to finish off and finish the third minor wave. Now, this is a little bit different count than what I've got on the S&P 500. Okay, slightly different labeling. Okay. And here's what the deal with these waves right in here is: if the fourth wave, fourth minuet level right here, the blue, comes down and overlaps wave one, then I'm going to move to say that the third wave, the third minor wave, finished at the high on October 18th. Now, we'll see if that happens or not, or does this continue to push to the upside. And speaking of the Dow Industrials, well, let me go back to this moving average view real quick. Speaking of the Dow Industrials, it was announced yesterday, NVIDIA is going to replace Intel in the Dow Industrials, and it's going to happen before trading starts on November 8th, which is this coming Friday. They're also going to have Sherwin-Williams replace Dow Incorporated. So it's going to be interesting. Now we're going to have NVIDIA in the Dow Industrials. So let's go back, show both the daily and the weekly, and let's take a look at the SPY. So this was up $2.40 on Friday, and inside slightly up, little doji type candle in here, just couldn't really go anywhere. Now we're having the moving average break over to the downside here slightly. It's happened a couple of times before. It happened in the beginning of September, happened back at in the end of July, August, and we'll see what kind of follow through do we get. When I take a look at the Elliott Wave picture, here's what I'm talking about. Remember how I was talking about the Dow Industrials? Well, I've got the third intermediate wave. On the Dow, I've got it labeled as the third minor wave, this one right here. So I've got this as complete. And if that is the case, I'm expecting this fourth intermediate wave to be sideways and pretty choppy, because look how hard down this zigzag was of wave two. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Wave three hasn't been all that huge compared to wave one, but right now this just looks like it's complete to me. And when you look at the divergences that's occurred back in 21 into 22, you can see how we kept getting divergence between up above the 70 level in here, but it took one more divergence where we had a really weak bounce, and then the sell-off commenced, really got going. Well, similar kind of thing, major divergence above the 70 level, and then we got another weak bounce in here. I actually got two of them, but so far this is not looking very strong. Okay, so It just looks to me like this thing is in the process of rolling over and heading south. Now, the thing about if we are indeed in the fourth intermediate wave, it can be a triangle, it could be a flat, it could be a combination of those. It can be really kind of messy, so we're just going to have to take it 1 week, several weeks at a time and just see how the price action unfolds. That's where I think we are. Okay, so let's take a look at the Qs. Okay, I'm going to pull that up. On Friday, up $3.58, an inside up type day again. Okay, for the week, down $7.89, but just like on the SPY, continuing to ride above the 10-week moving average so far. We continue to get divergence though in here. Same kind of divergence I just talked about. The Elliott Wave picture I've got on the Qs is that I think we have a fifth wave that's done. I think it is a slightly truncated fifth wave, and that completes the third intermediate wave, and therefore I think just like on the SPY, we're into the fourth intermediate wave in here. Now, the thing I don't like about this count is that I've got wave 4 and wave 2 both as sharp pullbacks. Okay, I don't like that. It's completely possible that this fourth wave really didn't end till over here. I mean, that it hasn't ended yet. Okay, and that would make a more sideways type picture in here. But I'm staying with this for now. Okay, it doesn't matter either way. I'm expecting the next leg to be to the downside. So we'll see what we get. Now we're getting some kind of, I don't know what happened. Let me check that. Something got out of a line. So here's the picture I've got on the daily. I think it's an ending diagonal pattern. I mean, it's interesting that this couldn't punch above the July highs, whereas the NASDAQ composite did slightly. But then the NASDAQ composite, came down hard the last couple of days of the week also. Okay, so that's the picture that we've got on the Qs. Let's take a look at the Russell 2000 IWM. So this was up on Friday, just like the others, an inside, slightly up type day, up $1.22, but flat on the week, basically 9 cents. That was it. So the others were down. This kind of held. But I'm still looking for this to come south. When I look at the weekly view, here's the deal. We had very strong resistance up here that we have not been able to get through, and we've tried 3 times. Okay. And so I'm looking for this to come down as a part of a wave 2. I don't know why that's doing that. That should be right here. There. Oh, I got to fix that. There we go. Okay, so wave 2. And within wave 2, I'm showing this as a flat. Okay. Now, I don't really like that much. But I am expecting this to come south and come down and complete this wave C. If it goes the other direction and closes above this resistance level, I'm going to be moving this over to here, which is where I've had it once before, as the wave 2, not in a kind of an expanded flat, and you can see what happens. It messes up with the other labeling, and then we're going to be off and running. Okay, so I'm not moving to that just yet. Okay, this is what happens. See, it moves the A level and then it moves that level. They're all linked together, and as soon as you start messing with it, it gets messy. Okay, now I'm somewhat back to where I was, and right here. Anyway, I probably was better off doing this, that we'd have 1, 2, 3, okay, as the alternate to what I've got going on here. Okay, enough of that. All right, let's go to the couple of indicators I wanted to take a look at. And before I move to that, I know a lot of you look at this and say, well, Joe's got these labelings out here, this wave, he must think that that's where they're going to be. No, these are just, other than this wave C and the wave 2, with 3, 4, where this is. These are just paths forward. I am not putting these where I think they're going to be at a certain time frame. So you ignore where these are placed, other than that is the procession heading to the upside that I'm expecting. Okay, so before you all start looking at that and going, oh wow, he's looking at it for that to go, X, Y, and Z. No. Okay, so that's the caveat on that. Let's take a look at a couple of the indicators. Look what's going on with the VIX. Okay, so yeah, we broke out to the upside on Thursday, but couldn't get any follow through, no push. But we're staying elevated. We're above the 20 level. We're just kind of hanging here at 2188. We'll see this week. Do we continue to push? It's getting kind of interesting. And then the other thing that's happening is that I noticed the percent of stocks above the 50-day moving average on the S&P 500. They've been in hard down the last couple of weeks, and they're now below the 50% level Thursday and Friday. And they haven't done that since that big crack that happened at the beginning of August. So we're sitting at 48.4% of the stocks in the S&P are above their 50-day moving average. So a lot of weakness has come into that. All right, I want to take a look at, first of all, I'm going to take a look at Google because this was really a pretty interesting chart. And let me pull that up. Okay, look at the price action in here. After earnings came out and, it's just Wednesday, it explodes and opens all the way up here. Minimal, continued to push minimal, and then reverses back down, closes well below where it opened on the day. But what did it do? It closed this huge gap that happened. That's what it did. What have I got with the dashed lines? The dashed lines they're the zigzag pattern, basically a projection. You can see how we got basically a throw over out of this. Out of this channel, this zigzag corrective channel. So I would not be surprised at all to see this maybe chop around a little bit more and then roll over and come back south. This looks like a 5-wave move, and this looks like a 3-wave move so far, and that's counter-trendish. So it makes me think that the next move is like this. So that's what I'm watching for, and we'll see what develops. Now, let's take a look at Microsoft, because this is pretty interesting too. Let me come down and pull this up right here. So here's what it did on a daily on Thursday. Okay, major break down here, and then didn't go anywhere on Friday. So this was huge move, breaking this trend line. Looks like a head and shoulders consolidation type pattern, doesn't it? Because you had one leg down, sideways consolidation. Now, the other thing that's interesting, though, is when you come back and go over here and take a look at a weekly view. Here's what I was just showing you, is this area right here. It looks like it's the right shoulder of a major head and shoulders top. And notice how we got 1, 2, 1, 2. So this could get really interesting. We just need to watch and see what kind of price action do we get. Do we continue to come down? And then do we break this trend line, which is around the 383 level? And this is a view on a weekly basis, and you get the same kind of view, although even more detail if you go to a 3-day view, where every high, low, and close is a 3-day time frame. So sometimes it kind of helps to get a little bit different clarity, different picture when you do that. But either way, it looks like a large head and shoulders top to me. So this is going to be really interesting. And to me, at a minimum, we're going to be coming down here and going after this 383 level. So that's the picture we got on Microsoft. Okay, that's it for this weekend. If you felt like the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit this little subscriber button there on YouTube. And if you'd like more of this information, and if you'd like to get updates and understand what the perspective and how things are evolving over the next several weeks, head on over to joehenches.net. Check out the website, check out the membership. Everyone have a great week. It's going to be interesting.